10, 9 Central on CBS.
Coming up, former President Donald Trump is indicted.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A historic day in America and here in the Commonwealth. Donald Trump becomes the first former U.S. president to face a criminal charge. And the General Assembly votes to legalize medical marijuana and sports betting in Kentucky. We begin with former President Trump facing a criminal indictment. We don't yet know what the charge or charges are, but they stem from a grand jury investigation into hush money payments made on his behalf. CBS's Michael George is in New York with the latest.
A Manhattan grand jury voted to indict former President Donald Trump on Thursday, making him the first former president to face criminal charges. The indictment, confirmed by his attorneys, remains under seal. The district attorney's investigation is related to hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the run-up to the 2016 election, and whether Trump falsified records to hide it.
They have nothing.
In a statement, Trump said he's a completely innocent person and that this is political persecution and election interference at the highest level in history.
The fact that he may be indicted now does not have any effect whatsoever upon his running for president.
CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman says the current presidential candidate will still be treated like any other person facing charges.
He will be processed. He will have a mugshot. He will get a booking number. He will give fingerprints, albeit electronically rather than by ink.
Trump is expected to surrender next week here at the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse, where the NYPD has already stepped up its presence.
All of the law enforcement partners at the state, local, and federal level will be joined hand in hand with the Secret Service to accomplish this mission.
Trump is facing several other investigations, including his handling of classified documents, his role in the January 6th Capitol attack, and his alleged attempt to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The White House declined to comment on news of the indictment. So far, no reaction from Kentucky's congressional delegation. Several Republican candidates for governor did react. Attorney General Daniel Cameron, who Trump has endorsed, said he was appalled by what he called the political weaponization of the U.S. justice system against Trump. It was a busy day in Frankfurt on this last day of the legislative session. A medical marijuana and sports gambling bill passed after years of failing in the General Assembly. A controversial tax break for the bourbon industry also passed tonight. Grayson Passmore is following all the developments from the state capitol.
It's like every year we come up here year after year after year and get told no.
With Kentucky Moms for Medical Cannabis, Julie Cantwell has been championing the legalization of medical marijuana for years. Her son suffers from seizures and, like many, has been traveling out of state for treatments. Senate Bill 47 will change that, allowing the sale and use of medicinal cannabis in Kentucky starting in 2025.
I don't even know what to say. It's right. It's right, and this is medicine, and God put it here, and we're going to help Kentucky patients. It makes me so happy.
While the bill passed the House, another closely watched bill passed the Senate in a 25-12 vote. House Bill 551 passed the House and a Senate committee on Wednesday, but many thought the bill that legalizes sports betting might never make it out of Senate alive on Thursday.
And it creates difficulty for me because as a Republican, I don't want us to be in your house. That's why I'm not a Democrat. We don't want to show up and start measuring your bedroom. There's a lot of things about being a Republican. We respect your privacy.
The Republican from Perry County, Brandon Smith, explains his yes vote for the bill that will allow Kentuckians to bet on college and pro sports, doing so through a computer, phone, or by going to a horse track-owned facility in Kentucky.
And we want you to be able to continue these things and have business and capitalism and these ideas. But this was a difficult one for me to want to reach into somebody's house and say, no, you cannot do that.
And gaining its final passage the final day of legislative session, House Bill 5 gives a tax break to the bourbon industry. It gradually lowers the property tax for distilleries starting in 2026, with the tax being eliminated in 2042.
And ultimately, this is going to put the more of a tax burden on my constituents and the people of Kentucky.
Opponents say it does away with revenue needed to fund everything from county sheriff's offices to fire departments. Those in favor of this bill say it is needed to save jobs in an industry that is growing in Kentucky.
We still have mechanisms to address fire districts, EMS, and local government entities with a replacement tax that would be paid for 2023 numbers.
That was Grayson Passmore reporting. Governor Beshear says he will sign both the medical marijuana bill and the sports betting bill tomorrow morning in Frankfort at 10. All but one of Kentucky's border states have legalized sports betting. The most recent was Ohio. They started sports betting in January of this year. Virginia started it in 2021. Tennessee and Illinois began sports betting in 2020. And West Virginia legalized it back in 2018. Missouri is now the only border state not to legalize it. There were strong reactions yesterday in Frankfort following the passage of Senate Bill 150, which deals with transgender youth. Some components of that bill take effect as soon as today. These include the use of preferred pronouns and restrictions on assigned bathrooms in schools. Opponents of the bill say that they will continue to fight against these measures.
Just to remember that there are trans adults that are going to continue to show up for you and fight for you.
The provisions dealing with the ban on certain health care will not go into effect for another 90 days. The ACLU says they will be taking this issue to court. For the first time in more than 100 years, the General Assembly impeached a former prosecutor. The Senate voted this morning to convict Ronnie Goldie. Goldie resigned last month after accusations that he did favors for a woman facing prosecution in exchange for nude photos. The verdict prevents Goldie from holding elective office in Kentucky.
Our first alert weather day in effect as we head toward the day tomorrow because of the possibility for damaging winds with a line of storms moving in at night and then damaging wind gusts as we head through the day tomorrow. All quiet tonight, though. Here's the view from from the studios here in Hazard. 50 right now, very much milder compared to where we have been the last few days. Some spots still in the middle and upper 50s at this hour. We'll slowly drop temperatures tonight, but your forecast first through tonight, going zone by zone. We're in the 40s in many locations. We will continue to see some cooler numbers in some spots, but as the clouds move in during the overnight, that's when we'll see a return to milder air. Details, though, on those storms and the very latest in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Students in Martin County are demanding change after a reported bullying incident came to light this week, something they say has been ongoing and overlooked for far too long. WYMT's Buddy Forbes was there as they protested in front of the high school.
Taking a stand,
stop the bullying! Stop the bullying!
Chanting for change.
Send them home! Send them home!
Students at Martin County High School say their peer, Heather, is the recent target of a group of bullies on campus.
They ruined what made her happy.
Taking advantage of her fetal alcohol syndrome diagnosis and friendly personality.
Go! Go!
To manipulate her into embarrassing and harmful situations.
Heather doesn't understand that these girls aren't laughing with her. They are laughing at her.
When recent screenshots and videos were brought to light, many students were outraged.
And my first question was, what are you going to do about this?
Several students and parents say they took their concerns to the school district.
None of the staff did nothing about it. They call her names in the hallways, really bad names, and they do not get in trouble.
But they felt no one was listening.
All they cared about was shutting us up.
So they joined forces and voices.
I just hope that it changes everything, and I mean everything. The whole system needs to change.
Send them home!
Saying no one should ever feel unheard or unsafe.
You deserve so much better than what this school system and these girls have to give you.
Thursday, many students walked out of school with signs. others sporting them in the halls, while some gathered at the school entrance.
Scary because they can't defend themselves and they're picking on people who can't even defend themselves. And the school lets it by.
Saying bullying at the school has been an issue for too long, and it has gone too far.
I am a senior, I am 18 years old, and I've been bullied for 5 years. Since 8th grade, having people tell me to kill myself.
Demanding the district do better for the kids of today and tomorrow.
I have family that is autistic. What's going to happen whenever he gets in school if somebody does something like that to him?
Hoping the noise
and help the people that can't talk about it and don't know what's wrong know that they're heard and that there's going to be people out there to protect them and that it's not always going to be like this.
will help them hear Heather. In Martin County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Students say they were informed that prom has been canceled because of the protests, and many were expelled and suspended for attending. Now, WYMT has been unable to confirm those claims, as our attempts to speak with school administration, both in person and on the phone, have gone unanswered. State police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide stemming from a domestic dispute in Rockcastle County. Police say 47-year-old Michael Collinsworth of Mount Vernon shot and killed his wife, 45-year-old Tanya Collinsworth. After shooting his wife, police say Collinsworth killed himself. The incident occurred on Copper Creek Road. The Rockcastle County Coroner's Office pronounced Michael and Tanya Collinsworth dead at the scene. State police say a retired state trooper's body was found after a house fire. Troopers say they received a call on Wednesday from the McCreary County Sheriff's Office requesting assistance at the home. Once the fire was extinguished, police say they found unidentifiable human remains, which the Kentucky State Medical Examiner's Office later identified as 57-year-old Philip Hayes. Officers say Hayes retired from KSP Post 11 in London in 2013. Investigators are looking into a deadly crash in Fort Campbell out in western Kentucky. 9 soldiers were killed when 2 Army Black Hawk helicopters collided. They were conducting a nighttime training exercise. One of the helicopters had 5 soldiers on board, the other had 4. It's still unclear what caused the crash, and we're still waiting on the names of those who died. Rockcastle County schools will begin spring break slightly early. They're making tomorrow an NTI day due to illness. All students are asked to complete their assignments on their Chromebooks. Spring break for them is next week. Coming up on Mountain News at 11 on this busy news day, one hospital unveils a new piece of technology to fight prostate cancer in eastern Kentucky.
Plus, we continue to watch the possibility for strong to severe storms tomorrow night. Tracking it all next.
Trade it and upgrade it now at Appalachian Wireless and receive up to $700